I'm Dr. Wahid Akbar. Thank you for joining us and helping to make 2020 a year of hope. We are glad to be with you during this difficult time and celebrate our hope for a healthier future for everyone. Thank you for joining us in this virtual format. We can't be together physically, but we can remain close in the spirit of this mission. Today, you will hear from some incredible stories of hope from our staff and patients. I believe in the work of the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. I have worked as an orthopedic surgeon in Saginaw for almost 40 years, and as a partner with this organization for many years. As a specialist, patients are often referred to me from the health centers. I can provide treatment knowing the health center staff are helping my patients find resources such as insurance or housing. I know they are managing their overall health, so they are ready for surgery and can maintain their health long term. Great Lakes Bay Health Centers is an integral part of reducing health disparities and improving quality of life in our communities. They support health and remove barriers with services not available elsewhere, such as transportation and community health workers. Everyone is welcome, regardless of their ability to pay. A quarter of our patients are uninsured. Most have Medicaid or Medicare, but the centers take all insurances. Great Lakes Bay Health Centers takes care of anyone who comes to their doors, with great expertise and understanding. Let's listen to Matt's story about how this care helped change his life.
I already knew I had a learning disability through all my life, through schooling. I had a lot of hard times, academically in school. So, plus I didn't really have a mother and a father's, family support. I wasn't getting anywhere at all. And then after that, I just decided to come and try a new avenue. So, and then since I came here, they introduced me to Janice. She's got such a heart, and she takes her job serious, and it means so much to me because, I can relate by talking to her. She looked out for me, just for directions to go, what I need to do, getting support from Natalia. Well, Natalia here's been helping me working on trying to get a place, and so has Janice and stuff. Because it took me 25 years to get an apartment, it's changed my stress level and everything. I have a place of serenity, sanctuary. I've had high blood pressure, but I've been to a point to where I had red dots in my eyes. Being overly stressed from being homeless and not knowing where to go, what are you gonna eat and all that. So I can just feel, the energy, the positive energy finally in my life. You once feel it, but then you're scared to grab it. There's a point, like I said, I don't like getting close to people because due to the fact of it is, I never had a mother that was that caring. I never had a father, I never really had a family structure. So, and they call it Team Matthew. So I love it, Team Matthew. And now we're starting this new program, this My Care, and that means a lot to me because that's just some of the issues I've been focusing on and want to, take care of. I've set goals today to work on, to cut out, cut smoking. I'm gonna quit smoking, and I had a bad alcohol problem, and I want to work on, keeping away from that. But then I'm going to eventually be working on bigger stuff because I like kayaking, hiking and all that. I want to find groups. I would eventually like to find groups and get into that. Coming in one spot, they'll meet my appointments. They'll make the appointments together. They work with me with it. They understand I have no transportation, so that's another goal that I'm going to be working on is getting transportation and stuff like that. Everybody here, the staff, I'd like to thank everybody, for your support. And I'd just like to thank, and bless all your families. And I'm just thankful. I'm deeply thankful. There's better times. You just gotta pour your heart out, and just keep plugging away.
I became a sustaining donor of Giving Hope Society 5 years ago because I believe it's important to give to a local organization like the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers, an organization I know is helping our community. I see the need for these accessible services among many patients who come to my office, and I see the change quality healthcare can bring when they come back to see me and they have insurance and new jobs because of the recovery helped them to get back to work. This is great work providing all these services that really touch people and bring them hope. I know my gifts are part of that. You can help give back to patients like Matt. A gift at the $220 level could provide a community health worker like Natalia for 5 patients. If you remember from Matt's story, Natalia was Matt's community health worker and was able to connect him to resources in the community. This assistant enabled Matt to move into a place of his own after being homeless and sleeping on couches for countless years. Great Lakes Bay Health Centers takes a holistic approach to healthcare and strives to see our patients' physical, mental, and emotional needs met. Omar Jones is a community health worker at our Jane Street Center in Saginaw. He will share more about how his job gives patients hope.
My name is Omar Jones. I'm a community health worker with Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. I work for the Jane Street Health Center site. I work as part of a care team. As part of that care team, what we do is help to eliminate barriers that may exist in our patients' lives, whether that be food, clothing, shelter, utility support, health insurance, or finding employment. One of the most powerful things that I think comes out of interactions with patients is being able to help them see that they can actually become independent. I think that it's important to be able to help a person to get to the point that they want to be at. A big part of what we do is all about making sure that we're addressing the issues that the patients want to address. During this pandemic, we've been making a lot of phone calls to patients because our centers haven't been fully open. And so the family that comes to mind is the Brown family. I have a relationship with them. I've had a relationship with them for a number of years now. We've just talked just in passing at times. We've talked about their future. I know they're looking forward to retirement in the upcoming years. But during this time, they both had some issues with their employment where they were laid off. And while being laid off, they also lost their health insurance coverage. They called me and said, Omar, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, what's going on? I said, we got laid off and we don't have any health insurance. We need some help. And came to the conclusion that they would qualify and be eligible for health insurance through the state of Michigan. About a week later, I got a phone call from Ms. Brown, and she was, just excited. She was relieved. She was very appreciative. She's crying. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, Omar, I got the letter in the mail today that said that we were approved for our health insurance. I really can't thank you enough. I'm not always in control of all of our resources. I'm not in control of the circumstances or the situations that exist right now. But what I can do is put my best foot forward to help encourage our patients to reach out to those agencies, to make the necessary phone calls, to be there with them if they actually need some assistance during the phone calls. Things of that nature have been a huge help to a lot of our patients. And so, I like to encourage them and keep them uplifted just because I know what it's like, when you're trying to figure out things. So I try to put myself in their position as much as possible and understand where they're coming from. And that's the way that I approach my work.
Umar also helped this next patient, Shafiqa. Let's listen to her story of how she found hope and healing at her health center.
After that accident, I felt like my hope. And it ain't that funny how you can walk away alive and still feel like your whole world caved in on you. I was here constantly because I needed that, not just for my back and my knees, but mentally and physically, I needed to come to Jane Street. I was on 16 different meds. I was on pain medicine, and I don't know how many different types of pain medicine they had me on, but I had to have medicine to help me sleep, medicine to help me with my pain, and it was so to the point that I couldn't walk, or I couldn't stand too long, or I couldn't sit too long, or I couldn't lay too long. Yes, I see Courtney, and I love him. Yes, I do. I love him because he cares about me. He don't treat me like a patient, he treat me like a human. That's why I love Courtney. After the car accident, me and Holly talked about suicide. I cried every day. I didn't like who I was, didn't like who I saw in the mirror because I was gone. Like if I didn't have Holly, if I didn't have this place to come to, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I would have took my life. And people like, wow, you was just in a car accident. But if you ain't mentally strong for that, she even had a family session. She was like, with my husband and my kids, she said, bring them in. I want them to come in because I need them to understand you because they didn't understand me. So she had a meeting with all of us, and that helped a lot. That helped a lot. Courtney said, if you can lose the weight, and he didn't say it in a bad way or anything, but he was like, if you can get yourself healthy, you can get off these pills, you can get off this insulin. I started implementing exercise. So, and then I already was eating better because what Courtney told me to do. So I got to the point now I box, I jump rope, and I couldn't even jump at all, period. I could jump, I do my squats and jumps, I do push-ups, sit-ups. I couldn't even do one sit-up, and I can do 60. In the midst of quarantine, I was working out in my living room. In the midst of quarantine, I was walking around my block. In the midst of quarantine, I was out there in my yard on a sheet or a cover exercising outside in the midst of quarantine. But thank God I have a team that cares about me. And I know they care about me because if they didn't, I wouldn't have a team. But I love Jane Street and I ain't leaving Jane Street. I love my team here.
A gift at the $2,020 level could provide critical behavioral health services for 3 patients for a year. The demand for this care is exploding, and we must respond to the people in our communities who are overcome with stress and fear. These are people like Shafika, who now has new hope in her life. Because of support from donors, Great Lakes Bay Health Centers was not only able to meet her physical needs after her car accident, but they were able to get her emotional support and healing. Her new outlook on life has inspired Shafika to give hope to others on social media through positive messaging about her weight loss journey. Let's go now to see some of Great Lakes Bay Health Center's healthcare heroes in action. We'll hear from Paula Peters, a nurse manager who led the testing site operations in downtown Saginaw for months. She has been on the front lines in Saginaw, overseeing COVID-19 testing for more than 14,000 patients since March.
I am Paula Peters. I'm a nurse manager with Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. Today I'm here at the Cumberland building, which is home to the drive-through testing site while we do renovations on our downtown site through the winter. I've had the privilege to work with some of the most hardworking and dedicated staff I have ever met, working in the downtown COVID drive-through testing site. Saginaw is one of the 3 sites that we've opened, and we have operated since March. The other 2 are in Bay County and Huron County. These staff have endured freezing cold as well as searing heat and some of the hardest work that we have ever faced. They have stayed when others feared the unknown and worked as many hours as we needed. Some days they literally almost crawled out exhausted. Now after 6 months, we are facing overwhelming demand for tests, and the cold weather has come once again. We are seeing record numbers, over 200 tests per day, and that is at our Saginaw site alone. We have hired new staff to conduct the testing and collect paperwork, but we need to hire more. We have had to buy more personal protective equipment to protect everyone, as well as tents and heaters. We work with Quest Labs to process the nasal swabs that we collect. We submit paperwork for billing to insurance as possible. Otherwise, we do not collect or charge for those services. Anyone is welcome, even without a doctor's note or symptoms, and those without insurance. We also have had our migrant health outreach team who were out in the farm fields testing through the summer. We are dedicated to providing this service to our communities to fight this virus and bring hope. We need your help to continue to keep staff out here meeting that demand. Thank you.
A gift at the $20 level would help to pay for collecting COVID-19 tests for 2 people in our community using our drive-through service. Testing is so important to controlling the spread of this virus, giving hope that we will get past this pandemic. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brenda Coughlin, President and CEO of the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers and a family physician.
Hello, my name is Dr. Brenda Coughlin, and I have had the privilege of leading the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers as President and Chief Executive Officer for the past 8 years. But my first experience with Great Lakes Bay Health Centers was as a family medicine resident working with our migrant patients for 2 years in delivering babies for migrant farm workers in the 90s. Then I worked as a staff physician at Jane Street and soon became the medical director, a position which I held for 13 years before our board of directors selected me as CEO in 2012, but I still see patients. It is important that you understand the depth of need some of our patients face and what we can do to help them. I have been on house calls in homes with dirt floors in Saginaw. I had a patient trying to heal with an open wound on a farm with no running water. I served as labor coach for a 13-year-old when we delivered her baby without her mother, who was absent because of a drug problem. Her grandmother and aunt were there, but sitting 15 feet across the room. And all of this need was before the pandemic. My passion comes from advocating for people who can't find help or hope for themselves, or whom no one will listen to. Thank you for joining us to change lives by building hope in our communities during a time that feels very hopeless for a lot of people. I want to thank all of our Giving Hope Society donors and other donors for your support, which has allowed us to continue to be a beacon of hope in our communities throughout the coronavirus pandemic. Travel back with me in your mind to Friday, March 13th. I was driving to the Bishop's Breakfast in Saginaw when I heard on the radio that schools were closing due to the coronavirus pandemic. It was clear to me at that moment that my training as a family physician with a Master in Public Health and Great Lakes Bay Health Center's role in our community put us in a position to be a shining light of hope for our communities during a very difficult and scary time. Now, 8 months later, we can continue to bring hope to hopeless people in our communities with your help. Recently, the COVID-19 case numbers for Michigan have increased significantly. The state health department has issued more restrictions, and we are seeing hundreds more people every day at our testing sites, with over 10% of those tested testing positive. The lines are long, and the demand is growing. We are more concerned about having adequate supplies and meeting the health needs of our neighborhoods. We are doing more, and much of our extra work is not reimbursed. How in the world can anyone come before you today and say we are hopeful? Very honestly, we are stronger than we were in early 2020. We are better prepared, having been through these past 8 months. We have learned to be more flexible and have stepped up to these challenges. We are confident that you, our donors, will rise to meet these challenges with us. Great Lakes Bay Health Centers provide quality health care for everyone seeking our services in a 16-county area of the Great Lakes Bay region and beyond, regardless of insurance coverage, through touching lives, healing people, and building community together. After 50 years in business, we met the challenge to pivot and perform in new and often better ways to service the healthcare needs of our community through this pandemic. What did not change is our culture of identifying our community needs and delivering hope to the needy. Coronavirus has changed the needs of our community. It is an invisible enemy, creating a lot of fear, anxiety, isolation, illness, and death. During April and May this year, we touched lives by providing emergency or urgent dental visits to nearly 4,000 people when other dental offices were closed. We helped heal people during the COVID pandemic by running medications from our pharmacies to patients in their cars who needed to stay isolated and delivering medications to patients' homes. When we had to temporarily shut down some in-person services, we transitioned to offering telehealth visits within 10 days of the shutdown starting. This helped us to bring hope to many people who were feeling very isolated and scared and just needed to talk to someone. To reach out to people who were paralyzed by the fear of being diagnosed with coronavirus in the emergency room and then sent home. To bring comfort to those who were feeling very threatened by racial unrest. We provided cell phones in our parking lots for those who could not access a telehealth visit with their technology at home. Doctors evaluated sick patients in their cars, a provider took a patient food when they didn't have enough, and we all listened on the phone when patients were afraid and needed to talk. We helped people through traumatic stress that they experienced from fear of disease, fear of dying, and fear of violence. At times, we cried with our patients. We helped build community when we opened 3 coronavirus testing centers to identify those who have the virus so they can prevent spreading it to others. We are proud to have provided more than 25,000 tests and are working to renovate buildings and hire staff to continue testing through the winter and beyond. When we opened our testing centers, we did not have funding, and we had no way to be reimbursed for the costs of collecting the tests. Staff were afraid, and we didn't know how the virus was spread. But we have dedicated staff who have volunteered to run our testing centers, and today we provide hundreds of tests daily without having to charge any individual through partnerships that we have developed. We can now give our communities the hope of keeping their families safe and slowing the spread of coronavirus. My vision for the future is that we can continue to support our communities through this pandemic by providing readily available testing to allow early detection of coronavirus and minimize spread, and by providing excellent, coordinated services through a combination of in-person visits, telehealth, delivery options, and drive-through services such as flu and COVID immunizations, testing, and treatment to keep people safe. We need to expand our behavioral health services. Most of us are struggling at some level with COVID fatigue. Sometimes our coping mechanisms are not enough to deal with all of the pressure, frustrations, and disappointments. And we need someone to help. I want Great Lakes Bay Health Centers to be able to provide counseling, medication management, care management, and community health worker services to help people who have no housing, can't feed their children, pay their electric bill, or find a job. All of these services rely on partnerships and your donor support. In order to accomplish this vision in 2021 and beyond, we need tents, remodeled spaces for drive-through care, new technology for telehealth services, more staff for screening, testing, and running prescriptions to cars or delivering medications to homes, and of course, more personal protective equipment to keep all of the people who do this work every day safe. We need to hire more community health workers and counselors, purchase new software, and develop new spaces. We can bring real hope for the future to our community together. I appeal to each of you to join us today in making a difference in the health of our community. You, my friends, have not lost hope. Please donate today to share your good fortune and bring hope to the hopeless. Our goal of $100,000 is very reachable, but only with your help.
For our final story, I'd like to introduce Tarshia Lewis, a Great Lakes Bay Health Center's board member and patient.
Hello, my name is Tarshia Lewis, and I've been a patient with Great Lakes Bay Health Centers for more than 25 years. I've been a board member for 6 years. I first come to the Jane Street Health Center in Saginaw when I was 16 and pregnant with my first daughter. I was on Medicaid and I was scared, but seeing the doctors made me feel comfortable and feel more hopeful about my new baby and my new life. Today, my daughters are 29 and 30, and 4 generations of my family who goes to Jane Street. During this COVID crisis, Great Lakes Bay Health Center has brought me hope. I've seen how our board and leaders have come together as team and jumped to make changes needed to keep the care going. We didn't want to see what others wanted to do. We just pushed forward to make sure the community was safe, healthy, and strong. We are here. This brings me hope, and it makes me feel so good to be a part. Serving on the board has taught me so much more and made me more proud of these centers. This is not just a doctor's office. We have many doors open to you. All of these services we have now, this brings hope to our community. We can't lose that. You've heard the Great Lakes Bay Health Center story and met some of our wonderful people and patients. And it's my privilege to ask you to make a financial investment to support our mission and change lives. First, we would like to say a special thank you to our leadership donors for this event, who have contributed funds ahead of this event to inspire giving today. Thank you to our Giving Hope Society members, who are a special group of our sustaining donors. You too can join this group with a sustaining pledge of $1,000, $5,000, or $10,000 a year or more for 5 years. This giving makes such a difference to our patients for years to come. 100% of your contributions will go to direct patient care at Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. The levels of giving on our website are meant to give you a sense of what your contribution can do. There are multiple ways to contribute to Great Lakes Bay Health Center's mission to bring hope to our patients. First of all, share this video. Share it on your social media pages. Share it with your family and friends. Tell people about what Great Lakes Bay Health Centers is doing in our community. Second, if you'd like to donate financially, visit our website at greatlatesbayhealthcenters.org/donate2020 or click the donate button on our Facebook page. In addition to these online methods, you can mail a check to our office. Third, get involved. You can give Jill Armentrout a call at 989-751-8866 if you have thoughts to share or if you'd like to invite others to a virtual Together event. Well, she will take you through one of our facilities and share more patient stories of hope. Your gifts can give hope to so many people in many ways. You will help support community-based COVID-19 testing to provide peace of mind to people who have symptoms or exposure and bring hope for controlling this virus. You will offer the hope of a new home or new access to insurance through resource and caring a community health worker can provide. You will help to heal depression and anxiety through behavioral health counselors and psychiatrists who are so desperately needed in our community. More than 80% of our services are paid for through donations and reimbursement for services. Your support helps pay for services that are not covered by insurance, such as transportation and community health workers, and to care for patients who have no insurance. Whatever level of support you can provide, we ask that you make the first gift towards our mission today. If you would like to learn more about our mission, or you have ideas for us, please let us know. Please know that whatever you give today, including the gift of your time, we sincerely appreciate your support for the patients we serve. Thank you for sharing hope.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this important message of hope. On behalf of everyone here at Great Lakes Bay Health Centers, we want to thank you for your time and for all your support.